Appreciate you clicking on this video. I just got done watching Monkey Man. And with Monkey Man, this is the directorial debut for Dev Patel. He plays a young man who spends his nights fighting in a ring with a monkey mask on, trying to earn a living, until one day he decides to put a plan forward to get revenge on the people who hurt him. That's all pretty much. I got any spoilers, you guys. This will be a spoiler-free review in the middle of moving. Background's different. On to the review. So this was a movie that kind of surprised a lot of us when the first trailer released. I like Dave Patel a lot as a performer, and to see him be in like an Indian John Wick movie, I was like, oh yeah, sign me up for that. Then you hear some of the behind the scenes of the movie and that Jordan Peele saved this film. It was originally going to go to streaming, and in fact, Netflix recently came out and said even though they had the rights to release it on Netflix, they weren't even going to release the film. Talk about that in a sec. But Jordan Peele watched the movie and decided it should be seen on the big screen, and here we are. So expectations were a little bit high, and I'll say for the most part, they were definitely met. Starting off with the things I really enjoyed about this movie, there is something about a person the first time they direct a film, you can almost feel the ooze of passion and love of filmmaking come off on screen, and it's fully present here in Monkey Man. Dev Patel has obviously worked with a lot of great people throughout his career, and everything he's learned so far, you can see it put on screen. But that's not to say that the movie is very glamorous, is very focused. In fact, it's a little sloppy at times. While there's a lot of great hand-to-hand fight scenes in here, a lot of shaky cam as well. Not every punch and action scene is going to be able to be seen in the way you would like. Here, although sometimes it looks amazing, you're in the moment, you're feeling the punches, and other times you're like, this is kind of giving me a headache watching this. There's also just so much Indian culture infused into this movie. I mean, the whole title, Monkey Man, comes from a story in their culture. Some of it really works, and other stuff falls a little flat. For me, the stuff that really worked is when Dev Patel was taking this Monkey Man tale and having it mirror the story of this guy who was just getting punched every night in this wrestling ring, working his way up on this nightclub so he can get really close to a certain person. In fact, I'll say the first like 30-20 minutes of this movie is some of the most intense and suspenseful stuff I've seen in theaters this year. The movie in the beginning does such a great job of only giving you a taste of how desperate this man is to get to where he needs to be just to be able to reach that person. And when those moments happen, you feel that tension rise. And I really like that. And then we got to the middle of this movie. The middle of the film is really what's going to make or break it for a lot of people. To me, I found it very profound and beautiful, and it's probably why this movie also really spoke to Jordan Peele, because he loves it when other people can engrave their culture into storytelling. And there's a political aspect of this movie that unfortunately is going to turn some people off, something that was very hidden and was one of the things that made Netflix worried about releasing this movie. But I thought the way Dev Patel went about humanizing this group of people in India that have just been shunned and abused all throughout Indian culture, pairing it up with the underdog story of Monkey Man, narratively I thought was a real creative and interesting choice. It just unfortunately also really slows the movie down for me. And slow can be good here, but when you just had this immense rising tension in the first 30 minutes and then you take the movie to a big halt to kind of understand these people, live with them, have our main character heal and grow a little bit, it almost starts to feel like it becomes a different movie, only for it to go back to the movie it was in the beginning towards the end. And yeah, if you were someone just wanting the John Wick action-packed punches and good choreography fights, you're gonna get that at the beginning and the end. But really, again, that was like my only issue with the movie, is just the way it went about telling the story, taking it to a halt, changing its pacing halfway through, and even the way they go about revealing the backstory of the main character. I felt that was a little bit overdrawn out and happened a little too late into the movie. But honestly, it's all just kind of minor things. Overall, the film I found to be really great. Dev Patel has a great future ahead of him as a director, and if he keeps making action pieces, I'm gonna want to see what he does. And not just that, but some of the dramatic themes he had in here and pushing the boundaries to stuff that might make some uncomfortable, I think is all good signs he's headed in the right direction to be a good filmmaker. So for Monkey Man, I'm gonna give action 3.5 stars. You really get that high intense, violent, bloody action scenes in the beginning and towards the end, but there are other times where there's shaky cam, it's really unfocused, and you kind of get a headache trying to figure out where the characters are in terms of them fighting. Comedy in the movie, I'll give 1.5 star to. There's a couple of jokes sprinkled throughout here and some physical comedy, but for the most part, it takes the themes of the movie pretty seriously. Drama in the film, I'm gonna give it 3.5 stars. I really like that Dev Patel was trying to do more than just create an Indian John Wick movie. This could have easily have been a simple revenge story with a couple of people fighting, but he pushed the boundary to go a little further than that, and I applaud that. Heart in the movie, I'll give 1.5 star to, mainly for the bloody things that happened to a couple of people in here. And suspense the movie, if they would have kept up the pace that they had in the first 20 minutes, this was gonna be be a 4, maybe even 5-star. But the way the movie really slows down and changes its pace halfway through, it kills some of the momentum, making me give it 2.5 stars. Casual moviegoers, I'm gonna give it a B-. Unfortunately, I think the movie shining a light on a demonized group is gonna turn off a lot of casual goers. Even in my theater, as soon as that started being a large part of the movie, an old white couple got up and left, never came back. Casual moviegoers, I'm gonna give it a B+, and critically, I'm going to give it an A-. I think for Dev Patel's Monkey Man, if you keep an open mind and know that there's more to the movie than people getting punched, I think it's worth watching in theaters. Again, really solid job. I enjoyed the movie, but I'd be curious to hear from you guys. Is the movie what you expected? What else would you like to see Dev Patel do? Stay in the action genre. You know me. Go to the horror genre, Dev Patel. Anything and everything, be sure and like, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, 3C Films, or on TikTok at 3C Films. But as always, I'm Chris. Take care.